Honestly, why do I do these things to myself? Nonetheless, I have committed. Maybe I should be committed. But we're going to do a deep dive into Predator Badlands with the emphasis on bad, and I'm going to break down this piece of crap. I thought I might be able to do the whole thing in one go. No, there's just too much. There's just too much moronic writing. There's too much that just needs to be remarked on, unfortunately. So it's going to be a two-parter. We're going to go to exactly halfway through the film. Let's go. So we start off, we get an intro that says, Yautja are prey to none, friend to none, predator to all. And this is part of the Yautja Codex, as dated 4th 2225, more or less. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, no worries. We'll be open on like a cool landscape type thing. We've got kind of an Arrakis thing going on here. Quite desolate. And we're told that this is Yautja Prime. And we see a jetbike speeding across Yautja Prime. This little bug thing comes out of the sand, wanders off, gets immediately eaten by a bigger bug thing, and then this gets eaten immediately by like a chameleon type creature, and then the chameleon gets splatted by a jetbike. Jetbike comes up to some kind of structure. It's racing along. It's like a coast. It all looks quite nice. I don't have any doubt about Dan Trachtenberg's ability to direct a half-decent looking film. Prey was a half-decent looking film. I'm concerned about nearly everything else. So the Predator gets off the bike and sees that he needs to get up to the cliffs, and he uses a zip line that glows red. Because if you're a stealthy species, you're going to use equipment that glows red when you're trying to hide. So he then goes to like the edge of this cave and activates his sword, using his mask to try and identify things, because that's why they use their masks, because their vision sucks. So he's like, I sense you, brother, behind your cloak, swings his glowing energy sword, and then his brother, who's cloaked the whole time, activates his energy sword, and then they have this fight, and his brother's going, look, you're still too small, you need to use your... his brother's trying to teach him. It's a teaching kind of fight. We've seen this kind of thing millions of times before. It's very Star Wars-esque. They're jumping, running on rocks, saying that, talking to each other the whole time. And it doesn't look too bad when it's the two actors in the suits, apart from it being very, very cutty. Lots of cuts to, try and hide things. And it's all very dark, again, to try and hide things. And what they're trying to hide is the fact that the CGI animation is awful. It looks like the end of Black Panther, where they just... The resolution is fine on the models, the 3D models, it looks okay. But the way they move is completely unnatural. It doesn't look right. The frame rate or whatever, they just haven't got the animation right. Anyway, they're having this fight, and the brother kind of wins, and he says to Deck to yield. Deck says never, and the brother chops through a little bit of rock that he's hanging on and knocks Deck into the abyss. Deck loses his mask. He will never use a mask again, despite its benefits. So he's still alive, crawls himself back out of the pit and goes to his brother, I'm still alive. And his brother's like, you've still got a lot to prove, to show who you are, to become Yautja, to join the clan, as it were. And then they carry on fighting. And then some time passes, and we're on the brother's ship. And the brother is called Kwai. Deck is on the ship, walks along, picks up Kwai's helmet, puts it aside, and there's like a toy inside. And he's like, you kept this toy? And Kwai's saying, I kept this toy because you saved my life. And Deck's like, I broke my fang on this. It's some nice stuff. The problem I have here, because, you've got brothers protecting each other and talking about things, is the Yautja speech, unfortunately, inherently, is very human-like. It kind of sounds like a mix between Klingon and Russian. Harsh consonants, but still very human-like with vowels and identifiable things. Like the word for no is nyai, or nay.
Ni! No! No, it's not that. It's ni.
And I'm like, really? I always envisioned the predators, or the Yautja, communicating through clicks and grunts. Nothing identifiable. I don't want to hear anything of human syntax or anything like that in the predator language, but that's what we've got. Already, I'm getting Star Wars vibes. I'm like, not too sure about this, but even though I'd rather have all of this conveyed differently, I do feel that there are some noteworthy little bits of clumsy character exploration here. We're getting some stuff between, the two brothers. We're getting a feeling of the dynamics, and that's the main thing. So Kwai slaps sort of It looks like a plasma caster, but it's not. He fixed the thing that he used to get up onto the cliff and puts it on his shoulder, says, don't blow yourself up, which would make you think it was a plasma caster. Then he sits Deck down and he's like, look, basically, you've got to choose your prey to become part of the Yautja clan. And he's scrolling through different preys. And one of them is, oh, no word of a lie, one of them is Naru, the girl from Prey. So she's clearly frozen somewhere so he can fight her again. Because this is set, we've been told by Dan Trachtenberg, like 200 years after Alien Resurrection. This is the furthest point in the timeline. So because the Predators are bad losers now, thanks to Killer of Killers, they just have their prey on ice to fight at any point. It's crap. I'm sorry, it's crap to start off with. Anyway, Deck sees this big creature called the Kalisk. He's like, that one. I want that one. And Quai's like, no, you've got no chance. Even Dad fears that one. And Deck's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna get this, because Deck's the hero. So he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get this. Quai's like, okay, well, whatever. And then Daddy turns up on a souped up, super duper horned jet bike, hot rod type thing. He gets off the jet bike. He's got a cloak. He's got white dreads. He's even got a beard made out of actual fucking hair. Oh. Deck's like, Father, I welcome you with honour. I mean, they're basically Klingons at this point. They're basically Klingons. And then Dad just ignores him and goes, why have you not done it? To Quai. Why, And Quai goes, he deserves to hunt. He deserves, a chance to prove himself. Dad just goes, no, he's our weakness. He must be cold. Why haven't you killed him? And Quai's like, look, give him a chance to go and kill the Kalisk. And Dad's like, no, you should have killed him as he swept. Kill him now. Traps Deck in some bullshit prison harness thing and just goes to Quai, kill him now. Quai's like, okay, be brave, brother. Deck's like, no. It's perfect. You can see the sadness. You can see his puppy dog eyes. You can see it just looks so human. And then Quai's like, be brave, brother. But rather than slicing Deck's head off, he frees him instead and then activates the sort of cable thing that he put on his shoulder and pushes him back into the ship. Ship closes up. Quai fights Father. Kind of a half-decent fight scene, and the father's basically like, look, you are weak because you wouldn't kill your brother, so now I'm going to kill you, which is just stupid. Now, what happens here is that Deck tries to run out of the ship to help his brother, but he can't because it's been sealed. Deck's brother, Quai, is fighting his dad. His dad just kicks his ass. He uses his cloak. He's a dick. He just kicks his ass. And he humbles Quai, chops off his arm. Quai's sword is lying on the floor, activated. I want you to remember this. It's still red. It's still activated. His dad chops off his arm and then stabs him through the chest. And Deck's like, no, go for your sword, brother. Go for your sword. And he doesn't. Instead, what he does is, as he's brought up by his hair, he's got his arm that's been chopped off with the control panel for the ship. And he uses that to activate the ship and send his brother off. And Quai's last words to him are, bring it home, as in bring home the trophy. So, we are at that stage of the film. We've had the opening sequence. We're about 10 minutes in now, maybe 15 minutes in. And okay, yeah, I mean, aside from a few plot grumbles here and there, not too bad. Not how I really saw the Predators. It's obviously pulling on some heartstrings and stuff, and I don't like that side of it. I don't like that they're so showing human emotion. I want the Predators to be inscrutable, but maybe this is what you need to do for the masses. So the ship tears off, and it goes so fast, and clearly can't have any internal dampeners, because Deck is thrown against the bulkhead and knocked out. So he's completely knocked out. We get then a passing of time cut, and then we go to this planet Genna. Right, as I said, I want to stop it here, because already this doesn't make a great deal of sense to me. The father's like, look, kill him, he's weak. What's the harm in letting him go off and try and hunt the Kalisk? You know he's probably going to die anyway. It solves your problem. Rather than killing, you've now killed your good son, rather than, you're capable, smart. It doesn't make a great deal of sense to me. And again, this is the kind of thing that maybe could have been explained with some decent dialogue amongst the Yautja, but you've just made him stupid. So, yeah. Quai is dead. Dad's a dick. Deck has been sent off to Genna to try and complete his hunt. That's where we are. So, a cutting of time, we come back in, Quai's ship reaches Genna, and it's getting smacked back by asteroids. And now, he's obviously been unconscious for the entire trip, now Deck wakes up. He's like, oh. The ship's getting pummeled a little bit, but there's nothing to suggest it's not going to survive, or we can't bring it out of its, crash or anything like that. But what he does, he literally stands up and then immediately, and I do mean immediately, goes and sits down in this weird bike thing in the cockpit and uses it like an escape thing. Think like a jet pilot punching out. And then all of a sudden, like, the ship was still getting friction burn from the atmosphere, but all of a sudden he's on this little bike, just flying through the air. This flying creature comes and attacks him, and this bullshit plastic shield comes up, and then he crashes into the forest. And it's the bit you've seen in the trailer where boom, 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 slightly dodgy CGI, hits the ground, pounds the ground in frustration. Again, very human kind of thing here. But why the hell didn't he grab some of the weapons and stuff? Why didn't he grab the mask? He knows the mask's there. Nope, we need to see his face. We need to see his face. You can know all the time. So I would like to remind you of exactly how Dec would see all of this film. All of it. Because you remember Predator 1987? The good one? Anyway, Dec stands up. He's got a healing kit. He's got a bow and arrow, which again is obviously red lasers, because why wouldn't a species that relies on being invisible and stealthy hunting have red lasers everywhere? He's got an extendable spear like Predator 2. He's got a spinning blade that also obviously lights up. And he's got his sword. And in the background, you can see this vine thing attacking a creature. It distracts him. He walks over to it, leaves all his gear, and all his gear gets snaffled by one of these vine things. So he's literally got like the staff, the bow and arrow, and I think his sword. So all his grenades, his healing kit, all gone. Because he's a moron. So then we get an extended fight against the vines. It goes on for a little. It's kind of cool. He's fighting. He's doing all right. You know, he's fighting. He's doing okay. There's a bit of a fight goes on. But then there's like loads of them turn up. Absolutely loads of them. And he just can't fight them all off, basically. It's too many. So what he does is he kind of, you know, chops one in half and then attacks another one and then shoots another one with the bow and arrow before that gets taken away from him and lost. And all he's kind of got is his shield, and he runs up a vine to get onto a ledge on rock. And because he's out of the tree line, the vines can no longer get to him. He's safe. It's all good. They try and reach him on the rock, but they can't get to him. So then what happens is we get the sort of moment where he stands up and he's safe and he roars and we see the planet behind him. And then we get the title for the film. Yeah. 20th Century Fox Studios presents Predator Badlands, copyright blah, 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 blah. Really? Did that all have to be on there? Anyway, he then goes to a stream and he's using like a scanner thing on his arm to see what plants are safe. And he washes the wound, makes a poultice out of the plant and puts that on his wound and then binds it up with a bit of rag from his skirt. Yes, his skirt. So far, so good. He sees a grub on a plant, picks it up, and the grub sort of swells up. And then he throws it away, it explodes, and he gives like this grunt of, very human grunt of satisfaction, like, cool. So, more landscape. And I've got to say, it all looks really pretty. It's like a Pandora, Arrakis kind of thing going on. You know, it looks good. Dan Trachtenberg can frame a shot. But we come back to Dec, and he's stealthing his way through a field. And there's these plants, and as he gets close, they sort of swell up, and there's these vines, these spines on them. You've seen this in the trailer. And he's like, a bit wary of it. And then we get a voice. The film is about to start going downhill real quick. So we are 22 minutes in, and we just get this voice, and it's a woman speaking Yautja. So she starts off, speaking Yautja, and then she has a convenient universal translator, so that Dec hears Yautja, and we hear human. Within 5 seconds, she is insufferable. She's commenting on him as he picks his way through the field. Oh, this isn't good for you. Because what's happening is a flying creature is basically throwing rocks at the plants to try and get them to activate, to knock out Dec so that it can eat him. The robot explains this all to Dec because we can't work it out from what we're seeing on screen, and this is a second screen movie where we get didactic dialogue because we're too busy looking at our phones. The robot basically says, look, I can help you if you free me. Dec's like, no, Yautja hunt alone. And then the robot says, look, you're going after the Kalisk. And all this time the flying thing's flying around, dropping more rocks and stuff. The robot says, you're going after the Kalisk. I've seen it. I can help you. And Dec's like, nah, not only this. And he's running. And as he's doing so, the robot's going, oh, no, you've got to run faster than that. It's going to get you. Just won't shut up. So Deck's getting, sort of sleepy because he's been hit by the vines and stuff. But she's like, look, send me a weapon. I can save you. And he gets his Beyblade thing and throws it into the sort of tree where she's all tied up with vines and stuff. Who tied her up? No idea. Don't think this vulture thing can do it. Anyway, he drops to the ground. He's all kind of like losing consciousness. The big flying thing comes down, and out of nowhere, like an exocet missile, she rockets out of nowhere, comes in and stabs it to death with the Beyblade. We then cut to her waking Deck up with like the antidote that she's made from the same venom that the flowers used to poison him in the first place. And Deck wakes up, not best pleased. Now the robot gives us loads of exposition. She is Weyland Yutani Synth. Weyland Yutani, apparently, still exists. I don't know how they still exist, because in Alien Resurrection 200 years ago, they were meant to be gone. And it was technically a deleted scene. It was, it's kind of stupid. It says they've been bought by Walmart or something stupid like that. So presumably Walmart's one of the companies in Alien Earth? I don't think they were. Anyway, I guess we can kind of let that go. But yeah, 200 years after it was all meant to be dissolved, Weyland and Yutani are still there. And they're still using more or less the same tech and the same logo. Okie dokie. So yeah, we get a load of exposition here, basically. We were deployed here, an entirely synth crew to research the planet. And she's like, I can use a hand, and you get that bit where Deck picks her up in one arm, and she goes, and she's like, being sassy and quirky, and oh my fucking God, seriously, it's horrible. And then Deck just drops her. He's like, no, I'm not interested. And she's like, look, I've seen the Kalisk. I've seen many Yautja hunt it and fail, and none survived. I can guide you to it. And Deck's not interested. He's like, no, I don't need help. The Yautja hunt alone. And she's like, look, I've been useful to you already. And he's like, oh, useful like tool? And she's like, yeah, useful like a tool. Use me like a tool. I'll get you to it. I'll get you to it, and you get me to my legs, because she ain't got any legs. So they go on a wandering montage where he's just like picked her up and they're just walking about, and she will not shut the fuck up. Here's some delights, complete with cute whimsical music. What does the chewing? Your outside fangs or your inside teeth? Woohoo! I've never been thrown before. How fast were you going when your ship crashed? Faster than sublight speed? We haven't cracked that. Yes, you fucking have. Otherwise, none of the travelling alien makes sense. That plasma sword is interesting. Is that unique to your clan?
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
And then when they're running past some snake spitting things that can't actually hit them, bear that in mind. There's so much foreshadowing in this film that you'll just see. There may as well be neon lights pointing at things saying, this will be in the film later. And she's going, oh, they just want a snack. You catch more flies with honey than vinegar. And then Deck's like, do not want flies. It's honestly like watching an episode of Deep Space Nine where Worf's just being, or watching Guardians of the Galaxy with Drax being obtuse, because he doesn't understand. It's crap. Anyway, Deck's like big into a harness, and he's like, look, you can now talk backwards kind of thing. I'm not interested. He walks off. And they walk off, and she's still fucking battling along. And then we go, of course, to a campfire scene. Because it's time for exposition. So we find out that she's been on Genna for 2 years. And she's been in the vulture nest for 13 days. She was basically in the lab working with the synth crew. But there was 2 of them, her and Tessa, who she speaks very fondly of, who are special. And they have higher sensitivity, which helps them understand animals. Don't understand how this works. Don't understand how this works at all. Higher sensitivity does not help you research animals, but whatever. It's just bullshit to explain why she's not acting like a synth. So she says, look, I've been in the lab, and then on my first expedition out into the field with Tessa, we got attacked by the Kalisk. I got ripped in half, and the last thing I remember is Tessa, the other woman synth, calling her name and reaching for her. And Deck is already fallen asleep and he's snoring. Because it's so funny. So she says she's seen loads of Yautja go up against the Kalisk and be destroyed, but she's been in the lab the whole time. It's only been 2 weeks since she went out on her exposition. She's been in the vulture nest for 13 days. How has she seen all these yautja? Anyway, whatever. We are 30 minutes into the movie, and already I'm getting fuck you film vibes. So we then get this cut from Tia's face to Tessa's face, and Tessa has seen better days. Putting it bluntly, she's wrecked. Her face is all wrecked, all ripped open and everything, and she's in a Weyland Yutani sort of healing booth, I suppose, and being repaired, and you get this binary and stuff come up and showing what happened and all the attack and everything like that. And Mother's talking to her, and Mother's not pleased. Mother's like, yeah, you fucked up. You done fucked up. Get it all sorted. You need to complete your mission. Still priority one remains to acquire the specimen, get bioweapon. Oh, and by the way, there's a yautja. There's a yautja now, which must mean they know where the yautja is, if they've identified it. But don't worry about that. So yeah, basically, that's that. And Tessa's like, where's Tia? She's like, she's with the yautja. So they know where the yautja is. They know what the yautja is doing. But okay, so we get more nice landscapes. And it does look nice. It looks suspiciously like Yautja Prime, though. Almost like the artist couldn't be bothered to do a completely different landscape. But anyway, they're wandering around, and Deck's like, I need to eat. I'm hungry. And, you know, oh, God, the dialogue of Tia is just horrific. Horrific. She's like, Deck and Tia, two warriors on the hunt. Yeah. Oh, fucking hell. So Deck sees these things called bone bison. And he's like, I want to eat that. And she goes, yeah, that's a bone bison. I don't know why they've called it a bone bison. They're supposed to be scientific experts. It looks nothing like a fucking bison. Why would you call it a bone bison? Like, it's a scientific synth team. It's so stupid. This isn't Warhammer. This isn't Warhammer where you just give something an English name. Oh, whatever. So they're basically, the bone bison, Deck wants to go forward and attack them, but they're in a field of razor grass which can cut you. More foreshadowing. Fear says we should go round, and Deck's like, no, you give up too easily. We'll sort this out. Then you get this cute little alien turn up. Yay! Tia's like, oh, what a odd little critter you are. I've never seen you before. Bear this in mind. So this little critter rolls up, and it's all cute and Disney and Star Wars like. Rolls up and goes off to try and hunt one of the bone bison, despite being approximately about 2 foot tall. So Deck is like, okay, it's on. And he's using the trees. We get some fairly rocky CGI again as he's swinging through the trees with Tessa on his back, avoiding all of the razor grass. Tia's like, oh, look out for the lunar bugs. So then we get like this comedy scene where Deck and the little alien thing are racing to try and get the bone bison. Then they get like this little tussle, and Deck finally gets the little alien thing, little cute alien with the blinky eyes, and holds it up, and he's like got it at arm's length. And then suddenly, just then, one of the bone bison charges them for reasons. And it charges them and reveals its soft spot, because that's exactly what you would do. So it opens up the big sort of bone crest that it's got, and inside there's like this little snaky tentacle type thing. Deck unhooks his plasma sword, which is, let's say, maybe 2.5 foot in length. And with this 2.5 foot plasma sword thrown, sort of like an axe, he managed to bisect a 15-foot bone bison. You can even see it in these shots that I'm going to put up here. Yeah, all right, whatever. What's it doing? Going up and down? Stupid. But it looks cool, I suppose, so it's okay. Makes the audience go, ooh, so cool. But just then, when he's sort of like cut it in half and he's got both halves of like the spine, oh, God. They get attacked by a great big thing. And then Deck's like, is this the Kalisk? Because it's got like big tendrils and it's dragging them upwards. And you can see it's not the Kalisk. You know what the Kalisk looks like. She's like, no, this is the lunar bug. Oh, ha, 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 funny. And they're about to get eaten by the lunar bug in its teeth, and the cute alien comes along and balls up. And the big lunar bug cracks its tooth on the cute little alien and drops Deck and Fear. They both hit the floor. Deck stands up, looks up, and like a comedy beat, catches the cute alien. I wish I was making this stuff up, guys. I really wish I was making this stuff up. I'm not. This is what actually happens. Deck then grabs his sword. His sword is lying on the ground, unlit. It only lights up when he touches it. Hang on. I'm in Newton Bitter. Film forgets how swords work. Anyway, we then get what I can best describe as a video game boss fight. The Lunar Bug decides to go after Bud because it broke its teeth on him. I don't know, whatever. And because like Bud can go through the grass, he's gone off. The Lunar Bug, that obviously is this giant thing, so it doesn't give a crap about razor grass, goes after Bud. Dec chops down a tree to be able to get to the Lunar Bug, jumps on top of the Lunar Bug, and literally like a video game, stabs it in its weak spot and kills it that way. It's like almost like this glowing weak spot on the Lunar Bug on top, and he just kills it that way. Lunar Bug crashes to the ground, and Dec stands there all triumphant. He's like, yes, he's killed 2 big things, Dec. You're doing all right, mate. You're doing all right. Oh, right, okay. We're getting there. I'm about 40 minutes in now. So Tessa, we cut to Tessa. She finds a Yautja bike. And then, even though there's loads of the normal synth, presumably like the battle droid synths, which are all white men, incidentally, in the background, the Vine decides to go for her, even though she's further away. She grabs it without even looking, because she's badass, and crushes it. And then there's this scene where like all the Vines are attacking and the synths are fighting them all off. And the synths are doing just fine. And then they flame all of the Vines. Just flame them to death. They're kicking ass. Yeah, oh! I mean, like, these synths are like badass, you know? They're some tough hombres. They're going to be really, really, really hard to beat. They're battle droids. Oh, yeah! Just remember that. So then we cut to another campfire scene. Yay, more comedy. I want to give you some actual dialogue here that Tia says. That was the best hunt I've ever been on. This is the dream team right here. The dynamic three. The dynamic trio. The dynamic trio. Trio. You remember when we went up the tree? And then we met you sweet little thing. And while this is going on, you've got the cute little alien thing trying to steal Dec's food. It's like Baby Yoda. It is literally like Baby Yoda. And Dec's not having any of it. He tears off a chunk. He goes to give it to Tia. And she's like, oh, I don't eat, but that's sweet. And then Dec's like, this flesh not sweet. And I'm just like, for fuck's sake. It's Drax. It's just Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy. And then she's like, oh, our little bud here looks hungry. So Dex finally gives the little alien some food, and the alien spits on him. And Tia's like, she's marking you as part of her clan because she knows she's a she. Of course, she's a scientific android. They're designed to work out what a creature is. Of course, you can identify as female. And she should be able to identify other things about her as well. She's like, oh, she's making you part of your clan. Maybe she's lost. And Dec's like, I have no clan. And then we get this great big scene where Dec basically explains all the backstory about his brother and his father to Tia and has a struggle session with her. And I'm not even fucking kidding. We get Predator feelings. We get to see him look sad. We get to see everything with those puppy dog eyes. It's bullshit. Fuck this scene. I do not want this. I never wanted the Predator to be identifiable. I never wanted to relate to it. I never wanted it to be human. I never wanted to feel sorry for the Predator. Do you know what I want to see the Predator do? Kill a load of fucking dudes. That's it. That's all I ever fucking wanted. So we get blah, 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 blah. And Tia's like, oh, you're alone. You need to have a clan. You need to have family. And then Dec's like, no, we hunt alone. He's like, you need your sister. That's the way she's talking. Because the way that Tia is talking about Tessa is kind of like very, very, like she's really, really cares about Tessa. Like heightened sensitivity bullshit. Like she loves her and like, oh, fucking, is this lesbian coded? And then Dec goes like, Tessa is your sister. Because he's been talking about his brother. And then Tia's like, oh yeah, she's my sister. And then Dec's like, you need to find sister and legs. She's like, oh, did you make a joke? It's like, fuck's sake, fuck this film, seriously. And then we see the alien, which has been called Bud, is mimicking Dec. Everything Dec does, the little alien's doing too, because comedy! And the thing is, I am not like middle finger flipping this film. I'm not. I'm throwing my hands up in exasperation at what I'm seeing. I'm like, this is insane. So yeah, Dec yawns, alien yawn, Dec stretches, alien stretches. Dec notices all of this, starts to play along, gets his plasma sword out, ignites it. Little alien can't do that because it hasn't got a plasma sword. Beat, alien's lit a stick on fire, waving it about like a plasma sword. I'm just like, fuck this kiddie family Disney shit. Fuck off. Anyway, we then go to Tessa, and Tessa has found the Predator ship, Quai ship. It looks pretty damn intact. Everything's more or less where it was. Bet Dick feels pretty stupid for abandoning it now. So she goes to the trophy wall. All the trophies are still on the wall. Nothing's fallen off. Behind the trophy wall, there's an armoury. Deck, you muppet. You have plenty of time to grab that and a mask. Never mind. And Tessa finds the plasma caster and some grenades. They're freezing grenades. When she presses the button, it activates, which is kind of dodgy in its own right. Imagine if it had a bandolier of grenades and you pressed against something that activated, and it freezes her hand. So we can see that it's freezing. It's a freezing grenade, and it freezes her hand just a little bit, just like the fingers and the thumbs. Oh, God, right, okay. Once that scene's out of the way, Deck and Thea leave Bud. She doesn't want to, but Deck's like, don't care, only need you, tool, come with me. And she's like, oh, okay, whatever. We get a load more walking through landscapes, which looks really pretty. It looks pretty, I'm not going to say it doesn't. The design looks fine. And then we get to a waterfall, and I get memories of a good Predator film. Sadly, this isn't that film. And Thea, Thea, whatever, is giving Deck the silent treatment. And she's doing that because he basically left Bud alone, and she starts giving Deck a lecture about Bud, about family, about clan, and we get more feelings, blah, 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 blah. And Deck is like, oh, clans can have no weaknesses. And then Thea starts talking about wolves, and she's like, look, wolves don't hunt alone, wolves hunt in packs. And there's an alpha. And Deck's like, alpha must be strongest, must kill most prey. And she's like, no, the alpha is the one that protects the pack. And he's like, I will be alpha, but I will kill the most. And he's like, oh, fuck's sake, yeah, whatever. So there's more walking, and they find they come across the Calyx den. There's wrecked machinery and synths everywhere. And Thea finds her legs, sort of on the floor. They go into one of the upside-down Weyland Yutani vehicles that's not completely destroyed, and the bed is upright, because of course it is, and the monitor is upright, because of course it is. And she lies on the bed with her legs, and she's slowly getting put back together. Like, this is going to take a long time. It's like a very, very slow process. It's not like automatic. She's got like a little device that she's using to stitch herself back together, basically. And Deck's like, right, once you can walk, I'll be able to walk easier. I'll be able to hunt the Calyx. I'll be able to get her trophy. You'll be the first to see it. It's a great honour for you. And then Thea's like, look, I've got to tell you something. I've activated a beacon to signal my sister because, dun dun dun, Weyland Yutani is after the Calyx.
No way. Yes way.
And she's like, look, you need to get out of here because we're going to get the Calyx and like you're not going to be able to stop them. And Deck's like, no, it's fine. You're not going to take my trophy. Bring them on. It'll be fine. He goes outside and he basically sets off a mighty explosion with some fuel barrels to signal the Calyx. And that is exactly 55 minutes. And I can't do any more. I'm sorry, this is going to be 2 parts.
Could we take a break for a while? It appears my intelligence circuits have melted. How was I feeling in the cinema at this point? At this point, I was kind of numb. I was kind of like, right, okay, I can see what kind of a film we're going to get here. Can we at least just get a decent movie out of this? Something that won't completely destroy the Yautja, something that won't be too... I'm basically just hoping it's going to be toned down at this point. I'm hoping for damage limitation. That's what I'm hoping for at the midpoint in this film. I'm like, please just let there be some cool stuff and let it not get too cringy. And please, God, just don't let this Deck guy turn into a complete pussy, because I can see where this is going. This is going to be the softening and neutering, the Disneyfication of the Yautja, as I predicted upon seeing the trailers. So, that's part 1. I will be back to you real soon with part 2. Spoiler, it gets worse. Let me know what you think, guys. There's a load of people who love this film, and you know what? I kind of envy them. I kind of wish I could just consume this absolute slop and not be offended and not be outraged at what they've done to the Predator. It's such a joke. You've got this cute little... It's like a cute little alien merchandising thing. I mean, this is Predator for kids. For I would let a 10-year-old see this film so far. There's nothing in this film that I wouldn't let a 10-year-old see. It's Disney kid Predator. That's all it is. Disney child Predator. Where have I heard that before? Anyway, thanks for watching. I've been Critic, and I'll be back with part 2 real soon.